Those of you most of you have already gone through that paper. So I will not waste too much time going through the paper as to how it is like, as to what was good about it. But just to remind you, the XAT OMR, the XAT answer key will be available to you by 9 p.m. It is on. Parts of it will be available immediately. But please do fill up the eOMR at careerlauncher.com/exam corner so that we can give you your scores as well as your percentiles. Percentile is, as you know, would be a function of how many of you fill in the data and how fast you do it. The faster you do it, the faster we'll be able to do it. My estimate is that it typically takes us 2 days to get the requisite amount of data. Hence, by Wednesday, we should be giving you the percentile, and hence you will be able to have a very good idea as to whether you'll get a call or not. Brief idea, you will in any case get it today. Okay? But yes, the answer key will be available tonight. Your score will be available tonight. Percentile is something you need to wait for. Do fill in the XAT EOMR, which means you have to go to careerlauncher.com/exam corner, log in using your Facebook ID, and fill up the XAT EOMR in the XAT exam corner. Okay. Okay. So very quickly, let's look at each of the sections. Okay. Am I audible now? Okay. Let me just ask the question. There are a couple of you are saying yes. Okay. Okay. Alpan, please check your infrastructure, your equipment. Okay, yeah, Alpan, please check your equipment. I think most of the people are reporting that there's no issue with the voice, so it should not be an issue. Okay. But let me just check the others also before I take it forward from there. Okay, great. Okay, so Alpan, please check. Now, very quickly, when I'm looking at the verbal ability section, I am sure all of you must have found the RC part a little difficult. RC was difficult. The passages were especially difficult to read. About some of the questions were moderate. There were a few difficult ones, but overall, I will say when I look at only the question, they were moderate. Out of the 5 RC passages, I would expect you to attempt about 2 to 3 passages. Okay? And usage was thankfully easier. Para-jumble, para-completion, fill in the blanks, all were attemptable, but they were time-consuming. If you remember those questions of grammar, the one which had noun, pronoun, adverb, etc. Those were questions which required you to check out each and every choice, and hence it was time-consuming. Similarly, the other parts also, those couple of questions which had the premise, the conclusion, the fact, and so on and so forth. So while they were not difficult, they were time-consuming. So when I'm looking at this paper for the 28 questions, I would expect you to attempt to spend about 40 to 45 minutes in this section and be able to attempt something like 15 odd questions. Okay? And as I said, 2 to 3 passages of IC1, what was the requirement for this section? When we look at the next section, decision-making section, this was actually the section which provided relief in the paper. But overall, I will say this paper was a difficult paper, and it was decision-making which brought the level of difficulty a little lower. Out of the 24 decision-making questions, the right approach for this paper would have been that you attempt most of the questions which were the behavioral decision making or the non-mathematical ones. Okay? Those questions of retailing, of Balwant, the retail shop, the question which pertain to IBM, and so on and so forth. So when you look at the mathematical portion, the mathematical portion consisted of about 12 questions, and this non-mathematical was about 12 questions. So these 12 are what I would expect that should have been attempted. Okay, the 3 sets of 3 questions, 3 individual questions. The 3 individual questions, this was the mathematical one, and this was the only one which one should have attempted. The other set of data which consisted of the Apple mobile phone, Apple, Samsung, etc., the 2-page one, not worth attempting. Similarly, when you look at that pre-international, that teams had to be sent to the international competition again would have been difficult because it involved probability, and many of you would have found it difficult. So when I'm looking at this paper, for me, the approach would be that leave the mathematical part, or within the mathematical part, do only the quiz strategy, the drug one, that drug discovery or the drug launch one. That is the set which has to be attempted, and all the other questions except the apple and the table of this the apple question and the table of teams which was there. Okay? Now this again means when I'm looking at this particular section, out of the 24 questions which are there, effectively you have eliminated about 8 questions definitely. So 16 is what we were looking at. Okay. So the 4 questions of Apple, Samsung, the team news report, though they should very, very time consuming, or it was a 3-page case, so it would have taken you some time to read. And the teams to international competition, another 4 questions. These were the 8 which had been left, but the rest of the 16 questions were attemptable. Some of you may have left a couple of questions here or there, but in terms of being able to attempt, I don't think it should have been an issue. Okay. Quant, I'm sure you must have found after doing this quant paper, you would have said CAT quant was easy. Out of the 31 questions of quant, there were only 6 to 7 questions which were easy or quicker and which one could attempt. The degree of difficulty of this paper was increased by giving range in terms of choices rather than specific numbers. Because the moment you have that, it becomes, it means you need to get the range, and you will not be able to use the choices also very, very easily. Okay. And then about 40% of the paper was difficult. 13 to 14 questions out of 31, remove 13 to leave you only about 18 questions to attempt. So about 18 to 19 is what would be a attemptable pool of questions for you. The geometry was high. Thankfully, DI was not difficult, while the graph looked difficult. I would say the graph looked difficult, but the questions were easy. Okay. So DI was worth attempting in this paper, and this paper, the approach would have been to identify those single questions or those sitters in the paper, which was 6 to 7 questions. There are another 10 odd questions which were attemptable. Out of the 16, 17 questions, you pick out and you attempt the DI question, and that is what one was supposed to do in this particular paper. Okay. Overall, when I look at this paper, I will say, in terms of the time consumption, out of the 150 minutes, yes, I'm sorry, this is 140 minutes. Out of the 150 minutes, 10 minutes should have been given to general knowledge because it had 20 questions, and my benchmark typically is half a minute per question of general knowledge. Verbal ability and decision making, each one of them required 40 to 45 minutes, not more than 45 minutes each. And quantitative ability would have been something like 50 to 60 minutes, depending upon how much time you spend in verbal ability and decision making. But anything less than 40 minutes in decision making or verbal ability would have been insufficient. Okay. And as I said, 10 minutes for general knowledge. And interestingly, the instructors also recommended that you should do 10 minutes for general knowledge. Okay. Now, when we look at the attempt level, verbal ability, when I'm talking about 18 questions of verbal ability were worth attempting, I'm essentially looking at, in the verbal ability section, I'm looking at, okay, let me just go back to the verbal ability part. Okay. I will say verbal ability in terms of RC, let's say 3 passages is what were attemptable. Say about 7 to 9 questions what you would have attempted. Okay. Then when we come to the fill in the blanks, there were 5 questions, all should have been attempted, so all 5 should have been attempted. Some of you may have left one odd here or there. Then the para completion and para jumble, there were 2 para jumbles, 1 para completion, 1 para jumble was difficult, 1 was easy. So out of these 3 questions, 2 were definite attempts. Some of you may have attempted all 3. Obviously, if you attempt both the para jumbles, the third para completion was an easy one, should not have been an issue. Okay. And then you have the 2 questions of grammar. Okay. So this typical, then you have the 2 questions of grammar. Out of the 2 questions of grammar, some of you would have attempted 1 only, and some of you would have attempted both of them. Now, 1 was a definite attempt. there's a question about Bihar being the oldest city of that and that one. So that was definitely attemptable. The other one had noun, so noun, adverb, and some of you may not have been able to attend because I know many of us do tend to get confused when we talk about adverbs and verbs and adjectives and so on and so forth. The items which were easy to identify in that were noun, pronoun, and the last one being conjunction were easy to identify. And if you were able to identify any one of the others, you would have typically got the answer. But noun, pronoun, conjunction were easy to identify, and for the others, it's your knowledge of grammar would have been helpful. Okay. So when I'm looking at the English part, I'm essentially saying 8 questions approximately in RC, 8 questions approximately in RC, 5 questions here, and another 3 to 4 questions here. This was by and large the pattern in which one would have attempted. Some of you would have attempted the premise assumption, etc., etc. They were time consuming because the choices were very different and you had to take each choice separately. You could not eliminate choices easily also. So 15 to 16 questions is what I had said out there. Okay. So about 15 to 16 and a couple of days, so about 18 questions is a good attempt. But the choices in some of the questions were close, and hence I would say out of 18 attempts, about 4 odd incorrect answers would definitely be there. So I would say a good score is 11 to 12. Similarly, when I go to decision making, as I said earlier, the questions to be attempted were 12 questions of behavioral decision making. Then the 4 questions from the Krishna Reddy. Okay. Out of these 4, one odd question you may leave. So that makes it 16 questions. And as I said, the 4 questions of Apple and 4 questions of the probability question of team making to international competition not to be attempted or may not be sufficient in time to attempt, and which would mean about 16 questions to attempt it. Out of these, one is likely to get 3 to 4 wrong. 3 wrong essentially because in the question of behavioral decision-making, couple of questions had close choices. So a good score would be about 11 to 12. If you get 4 wrong, you will end up with a score of 11. If you get 3 wrong, you'll get down to a score of 12. Quantitative ability, 55 minutes. The bulk of the time had to be spent here. And anyone who would have attempted about 14 odd questions, I would say, has done a great job. A couple of students who met me at the examination center said they had attempted 18 and 19 questions. Great. I hope they have done sufficient in the other 2 sections also, because 18, 19 is a superlative attempt in this paper. In this paper of Quant, I would say anyone attempting 15 plus has done a very good job. So when I'm saying Quant, I'm saying 15 is a very, very good attempt. As I said, 6 to 7 easy questions, about 10 odd moderate, and DI is what was important, and that is what would have helped you. And in terms of the cutoffs, these are our estimates. That when I'm looking at the BM and HRM, this would be the cutoff. Please understand, the verbal ability cutoff of HRM is typically higher than that of BM, and quantitative ability, the reverse happens. The QA cutoff for BM is higher than that of HRM. So this is typically what we would expect. Overall, we don't expect the cutoff to be significantly different from last year as far as XLR is concerned. And in the general knowledge part, there were about 15 questions which were attemptable out of 20. But given that it is general knowledge, about 5 odd errors would have happened. A good score is 8 to 9, and anyone who scored about 4 marks in this section, I would say, has done a very good job as far as this section is cut off. There's no cutoff for GK. Let me specify. Yes, and when saying estimated cutoff, please understand, last year students who had very low scores in GK. For example, last year I know of students who scored 99.6 percentile plus in that, with a score of about 1 to 1.5 in GK, were not able to make it to the final list in XLR. So the assumption is if you have a very low score in GK, you will not be able to go through. So which is what I'm saying, for reaching the second stage, this is the only thing which is required. For getting to the interview stage, verbal ability, QA and DM, a total of about 29 or 27, and these sectional cutoffs should be good enough to take you there. But if you have a score of less than 4 in GK, I would believe you will not be able to make it to XLRI, because in the second stage you will have a difficult time. Okay? Now, those of you who are looking at the other institutes also, when I'm looking at the other institutes also, okay, let me just correct this, that 2014. Okay. This is what we would expect. Just to summarize, when I'm looking at SPJAN, the cutoff for SPJAN, I'm putting it the same as XLRI, because both XLRI typically has a cutoff. XLRI typically has a cutoff of 95 percentile, and SPJAN has said that it wants a minimum of 70 percentile in each section and minimum aggregate of 85 percentile. Now, 85 percentile is what they say minimum, but typically if you are looking at a score-based call, you will need to get a score of at least 95 percentile. HRM cutoff is about 91 to 92 percentile, and XIMB again is something like a 91, 92 percentile, or going up to 93 at best. So I would say this is about 92 percentile, and GIM would be would go down to something like 87, 88 percentile also in terms of the marks. Okay? So this is broadly what we expect the paper to be. Critical thing is, check out where are you. Please fill up the EOMR sheet. Please enter the EOMR in the sheet. Please enter the EOMR. The answer key is being uploaded. Is already started, and as soon as it is done, you will be able to get the scores. So once you get your scores, if you are somewhere close to these scores, please start PDP immediately. Please remember, this is the critical part for you. Based on this, if you think you are likely to get a call, then please start PDP, contact your CL center immediately and start preparing for it. And again, if you're looking at TAPME also would be something like here. Okay. Great Lakes will be somewhere close to 27. Great Lakes, Chennai, some of you are asking, would be something like 26. At best 27 could be, but I don't think it will be lower than 26. Okay. Let me see what are the questions we have asked. Okay, IMT typically has a cutoff, would have a cutoff. IMT, some people are asking the cutoff for IMT. Okay, let me put it here. Excel, BM. I'm looking at a score of 30. Okay. Excel, HRM, and this 30 would go down to about 29. Also, 29 to 30. HRM, I will say about 27 to 28. XIMB, again I'll say about 27 to 28. SPJAN, the cutoff should be again about 29 to 30 on the higher side. 29 to 30 is what I would say. Okay. Then someone had asked for IMT. Okay. IMT is likely to be 27 marks, 27 to 28 on the high side. I would go more with 27 than with 28. Okay. XLRI BM have category cutoffs. The XLRI BM does not have category cutoffs. Please understand, XLRI does not have reservations, so there would not be any category cutoffs. So no reservation. Hello? 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 एक मिनट आ जाए, एकदम गायब हो गया. कनेक्टेड दिखाए लेकिन है नहीं कनेक्टेड. आप तो गायब हो गया. Oh, ये तो कुछ पढ़ा नहीं। यहाँ से तो सही चल रहा है। हाँ हाँ, सुबह फोन करना होगा एक बार। आ गया आ गया आ गया आ गया आ गया। Yeah, hello, hello. Go on. Hello. Yeah. No problem. Hello. Yeah. There's some issue, so you are back. And we were discussing the cutoffs. And just to repeat, there are no reservations. Okay? There are no reservations in XLRI. So no reservations, so no category-wise cutoffs will be there. Okay? Someone is saying DM cutoff should be lower. See, I have my doubts if you ask me. Can it be lower? Yes, it could go to as low as 8 marks, but I don't think DM cutoff would be lower than 8. So if you want to be very, very rigid about it, yes, it could go down to 8, but I would possibly stick my neck out and say that DM is likely to be closer to 9 marks. Okay. Okay, GIN and TAPME, that should be about 25 to 26 marks, okay, in terms of the cutoffs. Okay, now let's just quickly see what are the questions which are there. Okay. The answer key is getting uploaded. Please fill up the EOMR, and as soon as the answer key gets uploaded, you'll keep getting your scores. Expected cutoff both main and sectional. I hope this will clarify everything. Go and shoot is also there. You can okay. Okay. Anything else? Yes, Abhinav, one question Krishna Reddy set was wrong. You're absolutely right. Those of you who attempted the Krishna Reddy set, the second question of the set was incorrect. Yes. None of the answer choices were matching. So yes, so we are absolutely right. My feeling is that that question will be ignored. Yes. That question will be ignored, and which means some of us who have spent time on that will lose, would have lost time. Question 2 of Krishna Reddy set. Yes, was incorrect. Yes. Yeah, so none of the choices was right. That has sectional cutoffs. Yes, sectional cutoffs, as I mentioned already, these are the sectional cutoffs. Go and Seat of Management does not have sectional cutoff. TAPME does not have. IMT does not have. These are the only 4 institutes, if I remember correctly. Yes, these are the only 4 institutes out of that which has sectional cutoffs. When he says 4 institutes, sorry, these are 4 programs. XLRI, both for BM will have sectional cutoff. SPJAN has XIMB. Okay, someone has asked, what about profile-based calls? This is the criteria for profile-based calls. If you have less than 70 percentile in any section or less than 85 percentile overall, you will not get a profile-based call also. So you can say these are the cutoffs for the profile-based and 85 percentile will be something like for profile based call. This could be somewhere in the about 24 marks or so. Okay. So if you are looking at SPJAN profile based, I will say, let me point here, SPJAN this is, and profile based call would be about 24 marks. Okay. Okay, DN cutoff, Abhishek, yes, I've already taken. I don't think it should be less, but that's fine. Will 35 get 9? Yes, this is a more difficult paper, while the lower end of the spectrum will not change, but getting a higher score than 32 marks is going to be extremely difficult. So will 35 give 99 percentile? I would not be surprised if it happens, but my feeling is 35 is likely to be a score of 35 is likely to be about 98.5 percentile, maybe shade lower than 99 percentile. My guess is about 37 to 38 marks should give you 99 percentile, is my estimate. Okay, but yes, we need to wait for 3 weeks to get that. Pratik, I've already mentioned profile based call sectional cutoffs. These are the sectional cutoffs for profile based call and the general calls also. For a mark based call, you should get about 29 to 30, and for the profile based call, you need to get at least 24 marks for SPJAN. Okay. Great Lakes does not have sectional cutoff. Okay. Negative marking is 1 by 4. So every correct answer gives you +1. Incorrect answer gives you -1 by 4. Okay. Okay, 99 percentile, I have already mentioned, will need something like 37 to 38 marks. Payal, don't worry. In the date field of I have written August instead of 8 in the month. That does not really matter. That's okay, not an issue at all. Yeah. Yeah, Abhiru, many of us make a mistake. I know Krishna Reddy, I also solved that question twice just to make sure that I was not missing out. But after that, I left it. If you have chosen the wrong choice in that question, would not matter. My feeling is they will eliminate that question and not give any marks to anyone. Yeah. Okay. Yes, the current seat numbers have been taken into account to decide the cutoffs. Yeah. Is it easy to convert XLR? See, XLRI, as I said, last year 99 percentile plus many people did not make it because did not have good scores in GK. But in general, XLRI typically, while they have not declared that explicitly this year or in the last couple of years, typically the interview and the GD has significant weightage, and the gap between, if you look at it, a 99 percentile and a 95 percentile is going to be just about 7 odd marks, and it can be easily covered up in the second stage. So just because you have a high score does not mean you will be able to convert it. My suggestion, we start preparing for it immediately. Okay, I don't see any other questions, so let me just clean up the slide and write down the online. Okay. So let me just add here. What I'm telling, that 20, this is 29 to 30. This is 27 to 28. This is 29 to 30, and this is again 27 to 28. GIM, TAPME, and even Great Lakes. All of them will come somewhere here. 25 on the higher side, 26 marks. Then SPJAN profile based. Okay, IMT Ghaziabad. I'll write down separately. Profile based call of SPJAN about 24 marks. Okay, so this is profile based call. Have I missed any institute? Okay, yes, I have missed listing. So IMT Ghaziabad is also likely to be somewhere here. But the other IMTs will be at a lower level. Okay, so hope this clears out things for you. Done well, great. Have fun, enjoy. Come tomorrow, start preparing for the interview process. Start your PDP classes immediately. If you have not done well, please remember you still have a couple of options. MAT February and CMAT in February. These are two options which you need to still look at for yourself. Okay. Okay. All the best. Thank you very much. Okay. Okay. There are a couple of questions, so let me just have a look at those questions. Also, a few questions I missed out. LIBA, etc. LIBA, XIME, XI. Okay, let me just keep writing there. XIME, XISS, LIBA. I'll say about 20 marks should be more than enough. Okay. It could also go down to 18 to, okay, let me say 18 to 20, something which should be enough. Okay. Zia is asking GK. Yes, sir. Zia, GK holds weightage only for XLRE. Global MBA cutoff will be lower by about 3 to 4 marks. If, what else is there? LIBA, I've already covered. Please, all these institutes except XLRI are unlikely to take GK scores. Please understand, all these institutes take CAT as well as XAT scores. So when I'm looking at all these institutes, when they have to take CAT and XAT scores, okay, all these are CAT as well as XAT. Now CAT does not have GK. So if they include GK score here from XAT, then they will be unfair. So all these institutes will not take GK scores because they are taking CAT as well as XAT scores, and CAT does not have GK. So to ensure whether you have taken CAT or XAT, the institute is being fair. GK scores will not be considered. That is my assumption. But till last year also, none of them have used GK scores. GK and SA. These are taken only by XLRE. No one else has used them till date. Okay. Answer key is already on. There are a few questions which were tricky, and we are just confirming the answers. So latest by 9 o'clock, but we can expect the answer key in the next couple of hours. But okay, TAPME, yes, TAPME is an extremely good institute. Those of you who are around 90 percentile in CAT or XAT, please do consider TAPME extremely good institute. TAPME, like SP Jain, also has profile-based calls. TAPME also has profile-based calls, so they will get called even at 80-85 percentile. So please apply to TAPME, a very good institute, good placements, and very good education. Okay. SA and GK are serious criteria for the second round. There's no doubt. When we're talking about XLRE, SA and GK will be considered. SA is the equivalent of VAT for MBA, for IIMs. So IIMs have VAT, XLRE has this SA. Okay. Yeah. Okay. In XIMB, there's no reservation. Someone asked, okay, yeah. Govind, in XIMB also there's no reservation. Actually, no reservation in any of these institutes. Okay, XLRE also has a Kashmiri migrant quota. Kashmiri migrant quota, there are 2 seats. So the Kashmiri migrant could be let's say -3 marks or so. Let me also put a caveat to that. The KM quota is the most difficult. The 2 quotas which are very difficult to predict cutoffs are Kashmiri migrant and a person with disability. The reason is the number of seats is so few, it's typically 2 to 3 seats, that a couple of, that one good student will suddenly change the cutoff. So this is difficult, but one can estimate that these are likely to be lower than the other cutoff and lower by about 2 to 3 marks. Okay, any other question? Okay, question in quant was also the one that has 2 squares, S1, S2. Nilesh, we are just checking up that question right now. We are checking the question. Before I confirm that it is wrong or right, I want to be 100% sure. So yes, we are checking it because some students and some faculty have also reported that there seems to be some problem for this. Okay, XLRI HRM cutoff. Please just give me a minute. XLRI, XIMB HRM cutoff, sorry. XIMB HRM cutoff could again be closer to 26 marks. This is XIMB HRM. Okay. XINB HRM is 27 marks. Okay. About 26 to 27 for HRM. Closer to 26 is what I will say. Okay. Second, Dibendu is saying second question of Krishna Reddy is correct. Dibendu, let me have that checked up again because I felt the question was incorrect. I solved it by a couple of different methods while in the paper. I have not had a look at it after the paper, but in any case, we'll confirm it once the answer key is there. Okay. I think that completes all the questions. No further questions. So we'll close the session here. Okay. We'll close the session here. Okay. And all the best. Thank you very much for being here. See you in a couple of days when we start PDP. Thank you very much.